Hello everyone and welcome to this exciting update in Singapore. I'm Daniel Au, Asia Pacific Enterprise Business Leader at Red Hat. Today we are here to talk about a groundbreaking shift in the telecommunication landscape. StarHub, a leading telco service provider in Singapore, is redefining what's possible with its Cloud Infinity program, the first hybrid multi-cloud initiative of its kind in the ASEAN region. Okay, joining me today to dive deeper into the transformation is Ayush Sharma, Chief Technology Officer of StarHub, who will be sharing with us about StarHub's journey.
Thank you, Daniel, for having me here. So it indeed has been a journey full of excitement, surprises, and highs and lows. But most importantly, it has been the journey which have made me proud, and anything remarkable or disruptive you want to do it in the industry, you can't do it alone. And I'm very pleased that Red Hat has been with us thick and thin throughout this journey to achieve this massive milestone.
Right. I know, Ayush, the Cloud Infinity program is really the first of its kind in the ASEAN region. Can you share with us a little bit about the why behind this whole program itself?
Well, I mean, look, anything disruptive or transformative starts with, having a bold vision, and then followed by clarity. And then if you have the team which buys into that vision, then something magical happens. So the recipe is pretty much it's just around those lines and those kind of themes. So the bold vision from the board and the management was to that we want to become somebody who is relevant in the future space for consumer, enterprises, government, and continue to leverage and piggyback on our telco differentiation, but move with the industry to create that value for our end customers while we maintaining that operational excellence status quo. So with that vision in mind, we looked at, there are two massive platforms for innovation, Internet being one, where we had a good handle as a telco to build that. Cloud being another one, which straddles across geographies, straddles across verticals, spawns more innovation. So the idea was that let's leverage these two platforms and then build digital ecosystem enabler. And the journey started from there. And it's after that, there was no stopping. And then here we are. We have 80% of our network running on this Cloud Infinity, which is a hybrid multi-cloud platform powered by StarHub Fabric, which is based on OpenShift from Red Hat. Our content is fully running on Cloud Infinity. The whole, the OTT platform, even IPTV is integrated into Cloud Infinity, and gaming platform, so that runs on Cloud Infinity. Besides that, our cyber security services, SIMSOAR, XDR, so we are sort of transitioning one by one into hybrid multi-cloud. And the best thing is that we can now instantiate in a very fungible manner to across the pond, depending on wherever we have a good low latency differentiation.
Well, that sounds really, really exciting. So maybe if I'm a customer for StarHub, what difference does that make, with this Cloud Infinity program, to me?
Yeah, so I think that's a very, very interesting point, and that's where we started to kind of actually think about it. So we started with customer journeys. We mapped the customer journey design thinking. We call it human-centric sort of design thinking in place. So we put that design thinking in place, and we kind of work backwards from there. So in the consumer world, I'll give you an example. So in Singapore is known for bringing the best of breed of entertainment in the region, So if there was a Taylor Swift summit, Taylor Swift concert happened last year, let's say if you are a biggest fan of Taylor Swift outside Singapore, let's say in Philippines, you are starting your journey from there to landing at Changi Airport, and then you're taking a metro from SMRT, and then you are going to the stadium through the bus or Grab taxi, and then you're experiencing sort of the magical sort of whole aspects of for what you have come there for to enjoy that. And then in between you will tap into some parking, convenience services, etc.
Right.
So this whole journey, telco plays a critical role along with its partners.
Right.
But telco play only role in a traditional sense only in connectivity, like there's eSIM, there is a connectivity to the fixed providers, etc., and so on and so forth. But what about the other experience engagement aspects and convenience aspects which you can bring it to bear? So now, suddenly with the API mechanisms where we are sort of integrating with the other API partners, let's say for ticketing, we can engage with, through the API, they can buy the ticketing. Let's say for parking, so same thing for parking, and then buying food, reviews and everything else. And even connectivity can be at the button where like you can buy sort of, if you're a streamer, if you're an influencer, happen to be at that summit, you can buy a special connectivity pass on demand, which increases your throughput by demand, on demand, or latency by demand if you're a gamer. So that kind of fungibility, modularity in telco is very statically defined. So this helps us kind of map that consumer journey, and there is a similar sort of journey for the enterprises where we reduce their TCO, reduce their operating sort of overheads by providing everything as a service. They don't have to worry about router switches, etc. Hey, everything, network as a service. Network as a service, we bring compute as a service. Now compute also, different flavors of compute, we bring it in as a service. And thanks to you guys for helping us in exstantiating those services. And then on top of it, then since we are a hybrid multi-cloud, we have the data fabric, and that data fabric allows us to have the neutrality for a variety of AI services. So hence that we continue to have that innovation flywheel for that enterprise as product drops, as if they will do it today from AWS. But now we certainly increase that buffet size beyond AWS and Google, and brought in with the regulatory lens and with that trusted stamp of legitimacy, which is StarHub as a local telco, which has been very trusted provider, that your data is not leaving Singapore. And with all that trust factor in play, all the experiential sort of aspect in play at much lower cost with much better operational flexibility. So that's the kind of value to the enterprise customers. So I can go on and talk about multiple use cases, but then for government customers, it's about sovereign, right? How do you bring the sovereignty aspect into that? So these were the use cases, and we worked with like 20 odd customers during last 3 years. And we learned a lot in this journey, and a lot of it resonated with them. So a lot of like platforms we introduced as a multi-tenancy, which means they don't have to go with that platform on their own.
Okay, that sounds really exciting and very transformative, right? So, I mean, definitely Red Hat is so excited to be partnering with you in this journey, to achieve what you have achieved. Could you also tell, our audience here a little bit about how Red Hat and also Red Hat OpenShift play that critical role in helping you achieve, your objective of the Cloud Infinity program?
Absolutely. I think to me, first, if there is one company in the world which does open source well, it is Red Hat.
Thank you.
Simple as that, right? So I mean, I experienced it firsthand. I have great friends at Red Hat, Linux Foundation, from people who invented Linux. I mean, think about Linux. This is an open source, and look at Linux where it is. It's in the aircrafts, it's in the ships, it's in, you name it, Linux is there. It's very pervasive, right? So if, as I said, if there's one company have mastered the art of how to bring open source to production, that is Red Hat. Now, open source brings flexibility, it brings agility, you can move things faster, you can create more innovation, you can rope in a lot of more developers, ecosystem, it brings that diversity, but it also brings some sort of challenges where, you don't know if your code is contaminated, if there are bad actors into that. So that's why you need some regimentation, that's where you need some processes, that's where you need some commercialization aspect of that. And I think that Red Hat, and particularly OpenShift, has been sort of robust enough based on the learnings from previous incarnation of OpenStack. So those learnings actually helped OpenShift to become robust.
Right.
And that's why it is kind of like becoming almost, if I could take the liberty to say that, it's the core of that holy grail of multi-cloud.
Right.
The banks have tried to build. The telcos now are, after us, we've taken that sort of bold leap of faith.
Right.
Is also, they are experiencing the similar sort of innovation. And so very excited about partnering with Red Hat in that choosing OpenShift, and OpenShift allows us to shift and lift workloads between the hyperscalers and the private environment.
Right.
And this is our glue, because think of that in AWS, if we do native version or Google Cloud native version, then we have multiple cloud environments. Then we go into the traditional way of thinking hybrid multi-cloud.
Right.
We didn't want to do a traditional way of hybrid multi-cloud. It's a unique business and technology architecture which stitches this whole cloud federated model, and that cloud federated model allows us to shift and lift the workloads in a regulated manner, in a secure manner. Let's say on AWS to private, ROSA, Red Hat OpenShift runs on AWS.
Correct.
Similarly, Red Hat OpenShift runs on Azure.
Yes.
And Red Hat OpenShift runs on bare metal.
Right.
So that is a natural choice for us to kind of like have that glue of OpenShift and then build our sort of IP around it to create StarHub fabric.
Thanks, Ayush. I wish that all my customers are like you, right? Strong believer in open source, and I think in Red Hat we believe that open unlocks the worst potential, and being open, which means that being able to not locked in, but operate in every environment possible out there, okay? Especially in this ever-changing environment of hybrid cloud, multi-cloud. I think StarHub really has made a first. So, after Cloud Infinity, what's next for you guys?
I mean, Cloud Infinity 1.0 was mostly about using our own workloads and transforming our different tech stacks.
Right.
So we had a multiple tech stack. Mobile was one, fixed, entertainment, cyber, IT, sort of, to name a few, and then enterprise. And then we have subsidiary companies, which they are sub tech stack.
Right.
So think of that, even solving that, consolidating that tech stack, bringing them into cloud native, cloud neutral aspects, right? And then that reduces a lot of cost, brings a lot of operational efficiencies, and allows us to focus on customers as opposed to the infrastructure issues which telcos grapple with most day in, day out. And the second thing to me is then you can start to think about value creation for the customers once you have these Lego blocks in place. And that value creation, as I said, it's nothing what StarHub as a telco have invented on its own. It's something solved by cloud.
Right.
So we are just piggybacking on the principles of scaling it on a fungible manner.
Right.
So we have the assets in the region. So the idea is to kind of scale this layer of Cloud Infinity in the region, leveraging those assets.
Right.
And it allows us to kind of customize with the usage of AI to drop the services in a very customized manner, which gives us a good ability to shift and lift workloads. But now, mind you, this is the tech stack element.
Right.
But you need to make sure there's a business model, there's operating model, and there's a culture aspects which are dealt with that.
Right.
And I think that will be sort of next set of challenges that we as a company have to address as we move forward to achieve that scale and achieve that sort of agility and innovation at scale.
Right. Okay. Amazing. Just amazing, listening to you. But maybe one more question before we end, right? Not about technical, but how did you start off with the journey, about thinking about the Cloud Infinity initiative itself?
Well, actually, I mean, the idea was seeded from obviously solving the problem from coming from board, CEO, and the management team. But matter of fact, actually, it was in collaboration with partners like yourself.
Okay.
So we had Anand from Red Hat who was with me in Rocky Master. We remember still the conversation on a paper napkin.
Wow.
So we drew up something. And I mean, fast forward 3 years, there hasn't much changed from the napkin. It's been implemented.
Amazing.
So it's a business architecture we drew up,
Right.
and that transformed something into technology architecture. That became our guiding principle. So I think to me, it was just getting a buy-in from the team. Once you have a buy-in from the team and start to have that clarity, confidence,
Right.
and cadence, working with the team and
Right.
establish social proof, people start to believe in.
Okay.
It starts to manifest itself. And I think there you need as a partners who bring that sort of energy, who bring that sort of openness and innovative mindset,
Right.
collaborative mindset,
Right.
not being tactical, sort of more, nickel and dime in quarterly basis.
Yes.
And so that's why I appreciate you being with us in thick and thin, and also being strategic about it as opposed to tactical.
Yeah. Amazing, the classic napkin, right? Architecture on a napkin. So I really want to thank you, Ayush, CTO at StarHub, and everyone tuning in today. The Cloud Infinity program is shaping the next era of telco innovation. Stay connected and stay ahead with StarHub and Red Hat. See you next time.
Thank you very
See you
much
next
for having
time.
me
Thank
again.
you.
So this was a great session.
Thanks, Ayush, for a
Thank
partnership.
you.